This tutorial on creating a walking baseline using Noteflight. If you don't have a Noteflight account, you can always make one for free just by going to the noteflight.com page and then creating a new account for free. The first thing you want to do once you've made your account is click on the top left and click Create. Then click Start from a blank score sheet and click OK. You'll get a page that looks like this. Because we need 12 bars for our 12 bar blues, the first thing you need to do is go over here where your menu is and go to Measure and then click Add Measure afterwards. We're just going to keep clicking that until we have 12. If you click on a bar, it should tell you how many bars are in there. I need one more, so I'm going to go into Measure and click Add Measure after. Now I have my 12 bars. The other thing you will need to do is change your key signature straight away. Because you are not going to be composing in C major, you need to choose another key, and once you've chosen that key in the previous step, you go to Measure and then you go to Change Key Signature. From here, you'll have the option to choose any key signature you would like in major or minor. I recommend starting out in major if you are a bit nervous about this process. It's a good foundational place to start. For me, I'm just going to do this in C major as a tutorial. So here we go. Now the first step you need to do is use the bass note of each chord and put it at the start of when that chord plays for the first time. So for example, the first chord in C major goes for 4 bars, so I'm going to click in here and put a C at the bottom there. It goes for 4 bars, so bar 5, I'm going to go now and put the F for the 4 chord. 2 bars later, it goes back down to C for the 1 chord. 2 bars later, it goes up to G, and let's make that a high G. A bar later, it goes down to F, and for the last 2 bars, it goes down to C. Sometimes it has a turnaround where you put a G at the end. It's up to you. I'll just leave it blank for now. So these are what we call our target notes. When you're doing a walking bass line, it will walk around, but these are always the notes that establish the new chord, and they're the bass notes or the root notes of each chord. So we're starting out on C, and basically we can use any note in the C major scale, but just make sure to flatten that 7th, because the 7th note of this chord, which will be in C major, it's going to be the B flat. So for each bar, try and have a target note at the start of the chord. For example, in C, for the C7 chord, we have C, E, G, and B flat. To make something flat, go to pitch and then click flat or press minus. So those are the chords we're going to use. However, if we just use those chords, it's going to sound a bit, if we just use those notes, it's going to sound a bit static. So I'm just going to delete them one more time. We can use passing notes to help us get to a target note. So let's choose our target note for each bar. Walking bass lines usually ascend or descend in a certain direction. For the first one, I'm starting quite low, so I'm going to ascend. B flat was the top note of my chord, so I'm going to make sure that is the first note of my next one. Now I'm not going to go all the way down to C again. I might go to the second note of the C chord, E, for the next one. And then I will go to the G chord, maybe I'll go back up to the B flat for the last one here. You can continue this process as you go. So now we're up to the F chord. The notes in the F chord are F, A, C, and E flat because it's an F7 chord. So I'm not going to use all of them in a row, but I might choose that the E flat will be my top note there. Before I go back down to C, and the same thing, and it goes on and on. When you've got a 1 bar 1, you will not need to choose a new target note. For example, the G and the F chord here. And then I might just put this as a G as my last one. So now we have a target note for each chord. Let's have a listen to what that just sounds like. From the beginning would be helpful. So obviously it's very sparse at the current moment, but now if we click the edit button, we'll go back into it and make it sound like the walking bass line. So usually with walking bass lines, they are made up of crotchets. So we're going to fill in the rest of the blanks here using the C scale with a flat 7. So for example, I'm going to click an E, a G, and because I want to get up to the B flat, I'm going to use the passing note of A here. Let's hear what that just sounds like from the beginning. As you can hear, it kind of slides into that B flat, which is quite nice. And then I might make my way back down to E. So I'll go down to A, G, F, and then we're back down to E. That's absolutely fine. Now I want to go up to G. Sometimes you can take a little detour. So you might go E, F, G, and I might actually jump up a little bit to start that journey higher. These are all just kind of ways that you can do this that are different. You could just do the first up and down and repeat that as an easier way of doing this. I'll just keep filling in these notes. And then I'm going to lead in like that. Let's have a listen to what that sounds like, just the first 4 bars. It sounds like it's got movement and it's got its own unique shape now. So using the target notes and filling in the gaps using the C major scale with a flat 7th because of the chord, I'm able to create a walking bass line that has direction and movement. Where possible, try to make sure that each bar has its own direction, either ascending or descending. And don't be afraid to occasionally break out of that mold. You might have a bigger jump to change direction like I did in the 3rd bar or at the end of the 4th bar. See if you can continue this for the rest of your piece.